Hey there, it's Lenny McGill with the GlockStore Performance and Custom Shop right here in the amazing Nashville studios today. And you know what? I've been doing this for so long that no matter where I go, people say to me, they come up and say, "Hey, you're that Glock guy, right?" And I go, "Yeah, yeah." And they go, "I have a Glock 19, 17, whatever it is." And they say, "What's the best thing I can do to improve my Glock? What's the thing I should really do to make it better?" And I get that question so often that I thought, well, I'm going to go ahead and tell you right here on this video because while the Glock is a great gun right out of the box, we do have parts that make it better. And the two parts that I think are really the most significant and will give you the best bang for your buck are the Tungsten Guide Rod and this new brass heavyweight plug that we call our covert magwell, and I'm going to show you why we call it that. But these two items, now what the concept here is, the Glock is great. It's known to have reliability. It's pointable. It's just a fantastic weapon for so many reasons. But it's lightweight because of the polymer frame. And because of that, it has a lot of snappiness. A lot of people feel it's very snappy. So this extra weight that we add to it helps tame some of that and really reduces the felt recoil in your hand as well as the muzzle flip from shot to shot, which in turn allows you to drive the gun a little better and also be more accurate from shot to shot, especially when rapid fire shooting because the gun's not jumping around so much. I mean, it's phenomenal, really, the before and after. And when I do this with people and they actually come in and shoot with a tungsten guide rod or shoot with this brass plug, it's like, wow, I should have done that before because it is that significant. Now, and this is a Gen 6 Glock 45, all right? This is the new Gen 6, and we make these tungsten guide rods for all the Glocks, but I'm going to show you the installation on this Gen 6, and it's the same for the other Glocks as well. And I'm going to show the installation for this plug, and it's very simple. And these are things you can do with no tools whatsoever. So the gun is empty. Boom. No magazine, no ammo in the room. I'm safe. So I want to make sure that whenever you work on your gun, you make sure you double check that the gun is empty. You keep it pointing in a safe direction, pull the trigger, and now we're ready to work on that gun. So to disassemble the Glock or the Gen 6 Glock, we're going to go ahead and take our hand and I'm going to wrap it up on top here. And I'm going to pull the slide back just about a quarter of an inch off the nose there. And what that does, it takes the spring pressure off the slide lock, which is also known as the takedown lever. And that allows me to pull down on the slide lock on both sides and hold it down, okay, and then push forward and off comes the slide. And I want to be careful that I always maintain that slide so it doesn't fall down and hit the ground. And if I interfere or bump or crack that nose ring, you're almost out of luck. All right, so we want to be very careful when we do that. Now, what's really interesting about the Gen 6 is they went back to the single spring guide rod. And currently, all the Gen 6 models that are available, and there may be more, but right now what's available is the Glock 17, the Glock 19, and the Glock 45. All of those models use the same guide rod, which happens to be a Gen 3 Glock 19 guide rod. Imagine that. Okay, so they went back to the single spring. It is the same guide rod that was used in a Gen 3 Glock 19 way back in 1990 something, So the guide rod comes out just like that. I just kind of pressed it. It goes into the nose ring, which is what that piece is called there, and it captures itself. To replace the guide rod, now we have two options. The standard tungsten, which I did, 25 years ago, and then about 8 years ago, we started making the pure tungsten. And the difference in weight is, well, significant. First of all, the factory is plastic, okay? And I put that in people's hands and they go, wow, that thing is light. And you're right. And then I put the tungsten in their hands. They go, wow, oh yeah, I can see the difference. It's about 3 times heavier than the plastic one, 3 or 4 times heavier. And then you get the pure tungsten. When I talk about pure, it's actually pure tungsten. This is a copper tungsten blend, the original one was, and this one is pure tungsten. And tungsten is not cheap, and it's not easy to machine because it's super hard, but it is heavier. And the heavier it is, the better reduction of felt recoil as well as that muzzle flip. And that's really the big difference is the muzzle flip. So once you take out the plastic one and you can replace it with either the standard tungsten or the pure tungsten, it's very simple. Just go ahead and put it into the nose ring and then with your thumb, just compress it. And a lot of people, have a question about the notches on the barrel. All right. So Let me go ahead and take it out again here real quick, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. So there are 2 notches here on the barrel. And what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to nestle it into the lower notch. You can see it's kind of curved. It's going to go ahead and take the guide rod right there. That's where it should rest. Now, I will say to you, when you take the gun apart, sometimes you're going to find that the guide rod is resting up on the top of that notch. That doesn't mean that it's broken. That doesn't mean it's bad. It just happens to happen when you're taking the gun apart. And not always, but sometimes it happens. With the factory one, with the tungsten ones, with every guide rod I've ever seen, sometimes they just jump out of that half moon cutout there. And people are concerned that it's, is it broken? It's not going to interfere with cycling because it will go ahead and marry itself into the right place. So, barrel's in place, guide rod goes into the nose ring, and voila, that's it. Okay, and then we put it back on the same way. We always want to make sure that the trigger is in the fired position. Okay, so make sure that it's fired. If the striker lug is back here, you're going to have trouble putting the slide on. So if it's back in the unfired position, you would push the safety plunger and the striker lug will fall like that. Okay, so that's where we want it to be, in the fired position. Put your slide back on. Okay, and sometimes you get a little bit of resistance. If you have resistance, it's really interesting. You want to push down on the back side, push down, and it will find itself. And then we want to lock it in place. And there you go. And it's perfect, just like that. So that, again, I can feel the difference right now. I don't even have to shoot it. I can just feel that there's extra weight there, and that's going to help, like I said, with the muzzle flip. Now, this next item is really phenomenal because it's heavier. It's the brass plug. This is solid brass, and we make them right here in Nashville. Okay, so we've got machines dedicated to make these. We make a lot of them because there's a lot of different guns. Okay, so we've got the Gen 3, the Gen 5, we've got the Gen 6 now. There's a 43X version of this, so they are available. One of the things we did for our plug, and which we feel is really cool, is we've kind of tapered this thing. We put it to where it's what we call kind of the covert mag well. It's designed to assist in loading your magazines, which is pretty cool. The other thing we did is we have these unique cutouts here that allow you to use back straps with your Gen 5 or your Gen 6 gun. Really important because a lot of people want to use back straps. And this new Gen 6 is really interesting because when I put a tape measure around it, it's the same size as the Gen 5. But what they did is they actually reduced the size of the grip from the front to the back, but they increased it on this way. So it is the same exact circumference. However, the dimensions are a little different from here to here and here to here. It's a little bigger this way and a little smaller this way than the Gen 5. So when I grab it, it just seems smaller. And I actually really want it to be a little larger. So that's why we're seeing a lot of people start to use the back straps with the Gen 6 because they want that extra piece back here to make it just feel like a Gen 5. I can almost see that my hand, really wants to have a little bit more on the back. So this plug we developed will allow you to use the back straps, and it's very easy to install this. Okay, so you're going to go ahead and just press it back into the top here, into the bottom, into the weep hole, or basically the channel behind the magazine well, and we can just press it down all the way. You can see that what we're trying to do is line up the hole that's going to allow us to lock it in place. Now, if it looks like it's not quite accurate, take a little mallet to it and give it a tap, and there you go. It's lined up perfectly. All right, now included is a little Allen wrench and your set screw, and we want to make sure that when we're installing the set screw, be very careful because this is steel and that's brass, so we don't want to strip the threads. We want to get in there and we want to kind of feel it. If we have any resistance, we know we're going in the wrong way. And this feels pretty good. Yeah. All right, because if you start to get there and it starts to stop and you really have to force it, your threads aren't lined up and you will then strip it. And you can see the angle. I kind of went in at it. I didn't go straight. I went down on it like so. And The key here is to get this buried into the frame so it does not intersect with your grip at all. But it does, in fact, lock the plug in place. Because if you don't lock it in place, when the gun's shooting, the vibration will make it fall out. And again, like I said, you can actually use the back straps. This is the medium back strap for the Gen 6. And basically, this goes in here like so. Just like that. So there it is. It actually feels better with the backstrap on it in my hand because I'm so used to the Gen 4, Gen 5, Gen 3 guns, that extra meat there really makes a difference in just my perception of how the gun should feel. So those are two of the most important things that I think you can do for your Glock. If you're looking to reduce muzzle flip, felt recoil in your hand, make the gun, just shoot better. Those two items are simple, drop in, easy, and something you can do at home with no tools whatsoever, really. Bottom line is these really do work. And, we've been selling these Tungsten Guide Rods, I really 20 some odd years. And it's one of the most popular things I've ever done because when my wife shoots my gun, if she doesn't have a tungsten guide rod in it, she's like, I don't want, it's like, it kind of stings, but the tungsten guide rod just dampens that down significantly. And it's going to allow you to shoot faster double taps, tighter, because the gun's not jumping around so much. So there it is. The two most important things you can do for your Glock, and really two of our most popular items right here at the GlockStore. I'm Lenny McGill. Thanks for watching. And if you're ever in Nashville and you want to come in and try out a tungsten guide rod, we've got them in our rental market, and you can come in, you can do a before and after, and I guarantee that you'll walk out with a tungsten guide rod. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.